Nice to meet you again, my friends, dear yogis and guests of my channel. I'm Lisa Grail. Welcome to perhaps the most radical conversation I've ever dared to open. Okay, one more radical conversation. This topic regarding sleep is even more untouchable, almost taboo, comparing to food. We are going to question one of the deepest unquestioned habits of human life, sleep. Even not a habit, a need. Before I step into this field, I must speak with care. If you're pregnant, if you're living with PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or if you are in the depth of depression, this exploration is not for you. Please, for your own safety, choose gentler paths for self-healing and awakening, like Kundalini yoga. Your nervous system must always come first. I cannot ignore the fact that if my body and nervous system is trained through Kundalini yoga, pranayamas, and herbal detox, someone's body is not in the same state. What is easy for me may not be easy to someone else. I completely understand this, but if you are someone who feels exhausted from trying endless healing methods, if you have practiced and practiced until the practices themselves became a burden, if you sense there is another doorway waiting for you, then this conversation may be the beginning of something that shifts your entire perspective on human life. And what I share here is only an introduction. The deeper practices, explanations, the tools, experiences you'll find on my Telegram course for spiritual awakening. Let's start simple. You don't need to be a scientist to make basic observations. Just look at your own mornings, especially after age 25. The picture becomes very clear. How do most people wake up? With swollen, bloated faces, with foul breath that no toothpaste can fully erase, with mucus clogging in the throat and nose, with aching joints, stiffness, and heaviness in the muscles. Now pause. Does that look like healing? Nope. That looks like fermentation, like stagnation, like rot. Many of you may have noticed this. In the evening before bed, you felt alive, you felt charged, you had energy, maybe inspiration, a spark to create, to move, to love. But yet, after the sacred rest of 8 hours, you wake up feeling like a corpse, heavy, lifeless, and often needing coffee just to feel human again. Why? Because while you are unconscious, your liver is dumping toxins into the bloodstream. Your gut is fermenting the leftovers of yesterday's meals. Your lymphatic system, which depends on movement, stands completely still. And your breath becomes heavy and irregular, poisoning the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. What you call rest is often just a nightly biological hangover. You wake up the way a drunk wakes up, foggy, heavy, toxic, even if you never touched alcohol. Sleep is like a shutdown. It's like a computer overheating and forcing itself into black screen mode. If we turn in the operational system on and off over and over again, how long such computer will last? How do you think? And why does the body need this constant reboot? Because for the average person, eating 3 times a day, eating heavy food, drinking stimulants, holding unprocessed emotions, sleep is the only way the body can protect itself from collapse. The body is wise. It shuts down what we call consciousness to keep itself alive. Let's bring in science. Not the popular one, but still. In the Soviet Union, there was a doctor and physiologist named Konstantin Pavlovich Buteyko from the Moscow University. He became famous for discovering the role of breathing in health. What he uncovered was shocking. Sleep itself, especially sleeping horizontally, can be deadly. When you lie flat, the weight of your organs compresses your cardiovascular system. Your breathing deepens unnaturally, you hyperventilate, and your balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide collapses. Carbon dioxide is not just a waste. It's the key regulator of oxygen delivery to the brain and heart. Without it, oxygen cannot be absorbed properly. So what happens at night? oxygen supply falls, the heart strains, the brain starves. That is why people die in their sleep. Silent strokes, heart failure, respiratory arrest. They say it's a bliss to die during sleep. Oh, actually, such sleep itself is a little death. Buteyko saw this pattern again and again. That's why, when I want to have a rest, I sleep in half-lying position. And not only because of this scientific fact, but also it's connected with our bioenergy. Thing is that people are not practicing, they repeating after each other, and they have this agreed norma in society. And the unseen, hidden problem here that no one will ever doubt sleep, even if they feel bad after. For many, sleep is not restoration. It is slow suffocation, and maybe my words sound absurd because you never felt what it is to be awake and always naturally high. We got used to discomfort of the body, never doubting that there are different states of your own body and consciousness. There is a man from Belarus named Jacob Zipperovich who became widely known because of an unusual condition. He stopped sleeping. According to his story, this began after a severe incident in his life. His wife, being jealous, tried to poison him, and the aftermath changed his biology. From that point on, he found himself unable to fall asleep like ordinary people. Unlike most who would collapse from sleep deprivation, Jacob did not experience exhaustion. Instead, he reported that he could stay awake day and night without fatigue. His mental clarity increased, and he began to perceive time differently, almost as if it slowed down. His healing ability improved. Small injuries on his body would close faster than normal. He experienced a kind of intuitive awareness, describing moments where he sensed events before they happened, or picked up on people's emotions more strongly. He could make 1,000 push-ups and never get tired. He was eating normal unhealthy food, gained weight, but miraculously, his face remained young. So, his aging slowed down, comparing to people of his age. And I will confirm 100% on sleep deprivation, your empathy boosts. You feel everyone. You feel everyone is a part of you. So being super empath is normal. It's like telepathy, which is our natural ability. Medical specialists examined Jacob, but no clear explanation was given for his condition. Despite decades of no sleep, his health remained stable. For many, his case became evidence that human beings may not need sleep in the way society believes. It suggests that under certain conditions, the body can reconfigure itself and operate on a different energy system. And now let's break another belief. Melatonin is not magic. We are told melatonin is a sleep hormone. It's healing, it's natural, rejuvenating. Actually, it's really needed for the body, which cannot stay awake, otherwise person with PTSD, for instance, will be tortured. And it's not conscious sleep deprivation. It's very harmful, I completely agree. But do you know how melatonin is produced? By breaking down serotonin. Yes, your serotonin, your chemical of joy, creativity, and optimism, is sacrificed to create sedation. Think about that your joy is converted into anesthesia. This explains why depression and sleep are twins. Too much sleep, less serotonin, deeper sadness. In psychiatry, the truth is already used. Sleep deprivation is one of the oldest, most effective treatments for depression. A single night without sleep can lift the mood more effectively than medication. Not in all clinical states of depressed people, but in 90%. So is sleep truly medicine, or is just a chemical blackout? If the truth is so obvious, why does everyone still defend sleep? Because it's pleasant. Like food, because society is programmed to protect it. From childhood we are told, sleep 8 hours. Even if the child doesn't want to sleep, She is forced because too energized little human is a burden for the tired parents. Even nap after meal, which is obviously poisoning on the body, is perceived as something pleasant and normal. Sleep is health. I agree, without sleep, people who are living in stress and consumption will go crazy. Without sleep, you will die. Again, the same fear-based program as food. Yet no one asks the obvious. If sleep heals, why do I wake up swollen, groggy, and weaker than before? The answer is simple. Sleepy people are manageable. Foggy people don't rebel. Exhausted people do not awaken. The myth of sleep is one of the greatest sedatives of humanity. It keeps the soul sedated, not just the body. Passing out to the land of Morpheus each night, we lose connection with our spirit, remaining unconscious and ruled by automatic programs installed in us by the environment. A truly awakened person doesn't sleep. He rests the body, but never loses connection to his consciousness, self-awareness, and remains always present even while having journey trips to the other dimensions, or astral projecting or lucid dreaming during his deep meditative experiences, because such body is no longer rotting inside. They are not fermenting food. At night, all bacteria within us have a great feast. They getting married, multiplying, build colonies in us, and want us to lie motionless and do not disturb them. So when we cleanse our body properly, with herbal detox for instance, we have less bacteria and less poisoning and less signals to shut down our system and fall apart. And again, psychological aspect, people who process the great portion of their trauma programs are not hiding from reality in sleep. They enjoy each second being awake because sometimes it's magical to just be in the state, and when it never finishes, it's a never-ending joy. Constant self-supply. Sleep is, as its core, a form of escape. It is the psyche saying, I cannot face my thoughts, I cannot face my body, I'm bored with life, I'm bored with myself, I cannot face this world in general. But when the toxins are gone, when food is clean or absent, when the mind is clear, when consciousness is stable, something extraordinary happens. You simply stop falling asleep, or you sleep in much less and more shallow. Not because of effort, not because of stimulation, but because your entire system no longer collapses. You remain awake, and it feels as natural as breathing. When you rise above the need for sleep, you don't just feel better, you step into a new dimension of being. Your endurance becomes limitless. You can go for days without fatigue. Your mind becomes like crystal. Thoughts are sharp, precise, clean. Your recovery is instant. You do not need to lie down to reset. You feel an inflow of energy, not from food, not from rest, but from the very field of existence. Okay, one more little secret. Something deeper happens. You break the lunar cycle of control. Sleep is tied to the moon, to tides, to rhythms, to astrology. As long as you sleep, you remain a puppet of these cycles. You react to full moons, eclipses, retrogrades. Recently, I got information that planets do affect us, as these objects have their powerful magnetic fields and affect our state a lot, affecting all our decisions in our life. So maybe astrology is not just a metaphysical bullshit. Interesting to look at this phenomena as at the settings of our game here. But who wants to level up, goes beyond astrological charts, all these rules, and becoming the creator of his own reality, setting her own rules. You may perceive all this as a fairy tale right now. To be honest, I'm also a very skeptical person, but I have my experience. Unfortunately, I cannot install my experience in everyone, but that good luck, synchronicities, miracles, that are being attracted quickly in sleep deprivation is absolute truth and statistics of practitioners. When you transcend sleep, you transcend astrology. You stop being a reflection of cosmic rhythms. You become the architect. Your energy expands beyond your skin. Someone described and measured a sort of plasma short being formed around those who are staying awake. Let's call it a protective invisible shield that pushes away low vibrational events, people, and so on. Probably there are scientific researchments regarding this topic. Maybe they are used for military purposes, but not for ordinary people. When you are sleep depriving, you have huge magnetic field around you. People around you feel it without you speaking. Their mood shifts in your presence. Their dreams change after meeting you. Their nervous system begins to align with yours. When I was just starting my sleep deprivation practices in 2021, I was shocked how people were reacting on me. People would stop me in the middle of the street, kneel down, and scream, "Queen," or something like this, or "Beauty." And it's not connected with appearance, it's the energy they feel. Or one guy was chasing me in St. Petersburg and whispering, "High vibrations, high vibrations, high vibrations." So many weird things were happening on sleep deprivation. More I was sharing on my Telegram channel, not here on YouTube. And I'm not greedy for information, but guys, if this information will fall into the arms of very immature psyche, it can harm people. So that's why I'm not sharing openly. Whether you believe it or not, for me it's not fantasy. I think this is a human potential buried under food, fear, and fatigue. And this is exactly why the system doesn't want you to know. Because a human who does not sleep is a human who cannot be enslaved. Or, let's say so, when we are too dependent on food and sleep, we cannot move on to the next level of the game. You know, when the acceptance of all phenomena of life happened in me, when I accepted all duality and all bad things in the world, I no longer see so-called matrix as a cruel system that punishes us, but very intense and realistic game where all sensations and emotions are very colorful and dense. When we refuse to play these games, we have a chance to move next. We face just different experiences with even more responsibility and mastery needed. So hear me clearly. Sleep is not your enemy. Sleep is your mirror, especially if the quality of your sleep is not good. If you have no problems with sleep and it completely satisfies you, don't change anything. If you sleep and it causes you some discomfort, ask yourself, what am I still digesting? What emotions am I still hiding? Why I cannot just rest being present? What is so heavy in my body? What food I'm consuming that I'm being so lazy and so heavy after meal that it leads to sleep? What lies am I still carrying that force my system to collapse? Sleep only exists because of what we put into ourselves, physically, mentally, spiritually. When those burdens fall away, you will discover a new state. You will feel alive and present. I love the energy of night the most, when the rest of the world is dreaming. It's a pure magic, and usually I receive a lot of revelations at night. And I like to consume scientific information, psychological information at night. By the way, if you research all genius people regime of sleep like Nikola Tesla, Salvador Dali, who else, Einstein, you will notice that they were barely sleeping or using polyphasic sleeping. By now, try to rewire your belief system to the probability that you don't need sleep. You need clarity, you need presence, you need expanded state of consciousness. You just need to train your presence in the moment, here and now. It's a skill. You don't need rest in the form of sleep. You can rest your body differently and body will fully recover. Just like with food, The transition away from sleep is not instant, it's gradual. And it's also a habit. You rewire your neural pathways gradually. The practice itself has cumulative effect. When you begin to reduce sleep or prolong the wakefulness state up to 24 hours, 36 hours, your system will go through rapid physical and mental cleansing. Old toxins surface. Maybe old diseases can also pop up on the surface. Unprocessed emotions rise, maybe some checks from reality. That's why this tool is so hard, and it needs at least a very high level of awareness. You're forced to meet awake the hidden parts of yourself, the demons you avoided in dreams. This path requires courage because sleep like food has been one of the deepest social conditionings we've all inherited. To let it go means to face the layers of programming that keep humanity weak, tired, and dependent. Speaking personally, I have lived for long periods sleeping only 1 to 2 hours a day, very lightly, almost not at all. And what I found is that my high state doesn't disappear in such regimes, it stays. The stability of presence remains. The truth is, the state is more important than any tool. This state of never-ending expansion is what fascinates me the most. Sleep or no sleep, food or no food, when you are rooted in expansion, the tool becomes secondary. So it's not a purpose again to quit sleeping, to quit eating food. You play with all your regimes of eating, sleeping, just to a little bit shake yourself from the Groundhog Day, to shift your perception. In other words, these practices are hard, but you don't need to go to austerity and forbid yourself to sleep when you're passing out. It can be dangerous if you drive in a car, by the way. You just play around with sleep. It's interesting. And if you want to explore more information, I invite you to my Telegram channel. I think I would never repeat such perfect combination of all lectures I gave them. Its precious is still very relevant for beginners. I know some more information through this last year, but believe me, if you apply for 3 months of self-education through this Telegram channel, you will have no questions left. 55 hours of rare deep information and tools. You'll find the address of my Telegram in the pinned comment below this episode. So step in if you are ready to expand beyond the programmed limits of human's life. Stay true and kind, the rest things never mind. Sat Nam.